It's week 17, championship week. We already got games to break down. We got the Sunday slate to look at. We got the Chiefs, we got the Steelers, we got the Ravens, and we got the Texans. Pretty much Saturday slate, but twisted around a little bit. We're going to see how the fantasy points could be scored in these matchups so you can make the decisions for your fantasy teams, who to start, who to sit, who to bench, whatever you need to do. We're going to be looking at these matchups. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We're deep diving the matchups. We're going deep on the waiver wire, and we're doing deep dives on all the trending players throughout the week. Click that subscribe button. Stop missing out. But we're going to start off Chiefs, Steelers. We got a 43.5 over under. Vegas saying this could be a lower scoring game, if not moderate scoring, and it's going to have a tight spread, which means we might get some fun football on Christmas Day. This one could be a fun one to watch, a fun one to pay attention to. They have not played each other enough recently to really get any trends. However, both these teams can slow down the pace. However, when pushed, they can push the pace as well. When you're looking at these quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes, you should at least get all right production, especially with Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people were down on him earlier in the season, but you should at least get mild QB2 production from both quarterbacks. You had one down game between the two quarterbacks. That was week 11 with Russell Wilson against the Baltimore Ravens. And this is a rough matchup for Russell Wilson, so there is a chance that you do get that down game from him. However, this is a game script that it could go either way, where it could be pushed to where these quarterbacks hit or one hits, or it could be a nasty one where it's slow, low scoring, but there's a lot going on where it's very entertaining. That being said, it's an up and down game that we're looking at here. That's a big puzzle to look at. Both these quarterbacks should give you all right production QB2 wise, maybe not a spiky performance, maybe not top end. When you're looking at the running backs for the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's scary. It's scary. It's not like both these guys are prime running backs in the NFL, prime running backs for fantasy. Najee Harris is averaging 3.9 yards per carry. Jaylen Warren can volume in the fantasy production, but he has to volume into it through catching the ball out of the backfield and scoring a touchdown. But against the Chiefs, they ragdoll backfields. That's what they do. The toughest defense when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs, and they'll shut down backfields. Just about every other game, they shut down a backfield. That is tough. They'll bend a little bit here and there, but they have not broken yet. I do not expect them to break this defense unless something uncharacteristically happens. I expect this to be a very iffy game. If you guys start one of these running backs, you got a nail biter. You got a nail biter on your hands. George Pickens practiced on full Monday. He's like the only wide receiver I really care about on this offense, and it's still a nasty matchup. But this team will bend the wide receivers. They'll break the wide receivers every so often, so there's a chance that if George Pickens plays, that the volume and workload, the shots downfield could give you a little something, but it's very risky. You have a shot if you place, and the volume's going to be worth it for you unless you're absolutely jacked at wide receiver and you have other options. However, hamstring, full practice, looks like he's probably going to be good to go on Christmas Day. The rest of the wide receivers, they might surprise you because teams have to get creative against this defense because it's so locked down. However, it's hard to pinpoint. It's series to series, but that's a trend we're seeing from game to game. Pat Freiermuth could be a guy that sneaks up on us in this matchup. Teams like to target the tight end against this defense because it's hard to move the ball against them. But it is a rough matchup. It's a gamble. You got an 8 out of 6. We got to get that touchdown. You're gambling on the touchdown here for Pat Freiermuth. Not a must start, but a guy to think about one way or another. Benching 2. Now we're looking at the running backs for the Chiefs. The well has been dry for Isiah Pacheco. Kareem Hunt hit last week. However, we're looking at this matchup. It's so-so. We're moderate. We're middle of the road when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. They will shut down backfields. They will slow things down. They have done that 2 of the last 3 games. But They will break the running backs and they will bend the running backs. So there's opportunity here. It's really on the game script. If it can be pushed, if we can get a little bit higher scoring, if we can get to moderate scoring even, maybe we can get a little bit of something out of these running backs. We need Isiah Pacheco to cross the goal line. A lot of you guys are iffy on him. Let me know if you're starting him or not. And if you're benching him, who are you starting over Isiah Pacheco? That's going to help other people in the comment section with their ideas as well. When we're looking at the wide receivers here for the Kansas City Chiefs, we're starting to see a carousel effect here. Xavier Worthy's been hot. He's been hot as of late. And we're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers. They bend a lot. They break every so often. So there's opportunity here. DeAndre Hopkins getting targets. And then we got Hollywood Brown back. He got 8 targets last week, caught 5 balls. So there's opportunities for him to do something in the passing game. There is opportunities for all these wide receivers. It's a carousel effect. I look for one of them to do something. Odds are probably pointing to Xavier Worthy, but he's the type of player that when you start him, he makes you cry. When you bench him, he makes you cry. But he's been on a hot streak right now. He's been on the hot streak right now. He's turning on the juice. DeAndre Hopkins could sneak away with a score. Hollywood Brown, he is the unknown here, but we know he's getting work in the offense, and we know we got some opportunity in this matchup. Travis Kelce, I just want to know if anybody's planning on benching him. You must be jacked at tight end. You must be good to go. This team's moderate when it comes to allowing fantasy points to tight ends. And if this game script gets pushed, he's going to be good to go. Even on his down weeks, he's also still giving you upper level tight end production. It's just tight end production's not that great. It's up and down. Travis Kelce's going to get work. He's going to get opportunity. He's going to run a lot of routes. Now we're looking at the Ravens and Texans. We got a 46.5 over-under. The over-under is a little bit higher in this game. We got a spread at 5.5. This game script could break a little bit more. We could see more scoring if both these teams get rolling. That is one thing we could see. These teams haven't played each other enough in the last few years to really get any trends, but we got a 46.5 over-under. We know both teams can push the pace. There are times where both these teams can slow down the pace as well. But again, there's a good opportunity with all the playmakers in this game that it could blow wide open. You're looking at CJ Stroud. You're looking at Lamar Jackson. I do not see anybody benching Lamar Jackson. I think that would be nonsensical. CJ Stroud should at least deliver low-end QB1 to decent QB2 results. Somewhere in that range. Should be all right. Should be firing downfield. However, there are some games where he comes out flat. So that could be the problem with him if he does come out flat. We don't have Tank Dell. We've lost some weapons here. That could impact him going forward. Looking at Joe Mixon here, and we've cooled off over these last few games. We're looking at this matchup a little bit better than league average when it comes to allowing fantasy points to running backs by 9.9% on the season. So a little tougher matchup, but not impossible. So there's a chance that defense bends to him a little bit. The odds of them breaking to him aren't that good. They have not broken to many running backs on the season. But Joe Mixon, if we can catch some balls out of the backfield, get a touchdown, maybe we can get enough for you to make it and get that fantasy championship for you. Looking at the wide receivers here for the Texans, Tank Dell is gone. We're looking at Nico Collins. He's going to get a lot of targets downfield. Robert Woods got some targets last week. Xavier Hutchinson could be an outlier play. But this team on the season, more than league average when it comes to allowing fantasy points to wide receivers. They've been shut down as of late as a whole. Malik Neighbors did well against them. Alpha wide receivers tend to do well against them. Nico Collins should get a lot of targets, should get a lot of volume downfield. He should at least get his opportunity. He should at least get his opportunity to blow up in the stat line. If he does, that's a different matter, but he should get his opportunity in this matchup. Looks like teams definitely hyper target the alpha against this defense. Dalton Schultz could surprise you with extra targets in this matchup. Tank Dell is out, so where's the ball going to go? If we're in the red zone, you might get that touchdown. That might help you out. Again, he's iffy. He's risky. When Nico Collins was out, he wasn't hitting. Dalton Schultz is a play that could go either way for you. Derrick Henry's Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's had some cool-off moments, but this is a matchup where the defense could bend to him enough to get you by this week. That could definitely happen. And if he gets Green in front of him, we know what can happen with Derrick Henry. I don't see anybody benching Derrick Henry, looking at him saying, not this week in Championship Sunday. They're not doing that. We're looking at Derrick Henry. He's going to bring home the gold on Christmas Day. Can that happen? Zay Flowers missed practice on Monday. We're watching the practice reports here. Rashod Bateman's up and down. He gets the deep targets. He's got an 8 out of 13.8. He's deep ball city. We bring in a deep ball, we're going to cash. If we don't, we're not going to cash. If Zay Flowers out, this team has to get tricky and creative with how they move the football. Maybe we run it more, push it more downfield to Rashod Bateman. Maybe it's a Nelson Aguilar game. Maybe it's a Tylan Wallace game. But things will have to get creative. There is some good opportunity in this matchup. Houston will bend the wide receivers, sometimes break. This is a good matchup for these wide receivers to surprise us a little bit. Looking at the tight ends, if Zay Flowers is banged up, we might get some more volume going to Mark Andrews. Maybe something sneaky to Isiah Likely. Again, the tight end position's up and down. It's highly volatile. Mark Andrews has been okay at the tight end spot throughout the back half of the season. This team will bend a little bit to the tight end spot. They'll allow some fantasy scoring to the tight ends. That is something to look at. If this game gets nasty and they got to push it around the red zone to the tight end, either one of these guys can get it, and you might be gambling, putting some chips if you're streaming at this moment in your championship game to either one of these guys. Mark Andrews, the most likely candidate. Isiah Likely could still sneak something out of it for you. You're looking at these tight ends. Again, like always, iffy pieces for your fantasy. That's the Christmas slate. Merry Christmas, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching all season long. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out so you don't miss it next year. I want to thank you for watching. Catch you on the next video.